It's time I finally talk about this series. I've put off talking about this series for a long time due to my lack of actually finding this series to be all that good. Like with most people, I thought it fell off after a few seasons. However, My Hero Academia Season 6 has been absolutely incredible. Every single episode has something absolutely insane going on with it. This season really picked up the pace and let us see what the series can really be about. The series got so much darker, but it made the series so much better as well. Everything that has been building up for the past 5 seasons is culminating in this big battle in Season 6. We've gotten to see the characters go from these naive, ignorant kids to being real heroes fighting on the front lines with everybody. My Hero Academia took the slow but steady approach to get you into the craziness at the end of the series. That's part of why the pacing felt terrible for a couple of seasons. There were a lot of training arcs that we had to watch to get to where we are now, as well as some really slow and dumb arcs like the Cultural Festival arc, which was used as a little bit of happiness and peace before the big craziness was about to go down. However, all of that made the series fall out of popularity with a lot of people because it got really boring. It felt like the series was going nowhere fast. There are a lot of My Hero Academia haters out there, and I am most certainly not one of them. It isn't my favorite series or anything, but I like it. I even enjoyed the slower seasons of this show that most people called boring. However, even with that, I recognize that this series took a really long time to get going. It had a strong start, a really weak middle, and from what I can see right now, it looks like it's going to have a pretty strong ending as well. My Hero Academia is a series that gained a lot of popularity in the 2010s for being the next big shonen anime. However, it eventually lost all of its hype as people stopped talking about this series in favor of others. Although with that being the case, its popularity has never really gone down, it's just that less people have talked about this series over the years. However, I personally think that with this season it has regained the hype that it lost, at least for a short period of time. Before we continue this video, it would be awesome if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. I make new anime and manga content every single week on a variety of different topics and series. My Hero Academia has a very large cast of characters. This can be to its detriment a lot of the time, as a lot of these characters get overshadowed by some of the others. However, the character writing for some of the characters that do get focus is actually quite good. There's a lot of hate thrown towards the female cast of My Hero, which in a lot of cases I can understand, as a lot of them have been sidelined for other characters. However, there are a few female characters in the series that I think stand out among the others. The first one being Toga. All of the villains in this series are great, and Toga is no exception to that. She was an outcast all her life due to things that she couldn't control, like her quirk. But she found people that really love and care for her in the League of Villains, which gets you to really understand her character a lot. Another well-written female character, to me at least, is Momo. Some people may disagree with me, but I think throughout the series we have seen her grow a lot as a character through struggling to understand herself, overconfidence in the fact that she got into UA through recommendation, and the fact that despite all of that, she still wasn't able to keep up with her class. She grows a lot, and she learns what her strengths are as she goes through the series. She learns through failure. She fails over and over again as the series goes on, but each time she fails, she comes back stronger and smarter than she was before. We see her go from someone with not a lot of confidence in their abilities to someone who finally has the confidence and trust of those around her to succeed even in desperate situations. Of course, there are plenty of other incredible characters in this series. The League of Villains as a whole is basically all incredible characters, and it feels like this series should have been named after them sometimes, with characters like Shigaraki really stealing the show. He has become one of my favorite villains in all of anime. His backstory gets you to really understand his character and his motivations. All of the villains in this series aren't necessarily bad people for the sake of being bad people. All of them were failed by the Hero Society and came together to form a close family of people who want to take revenge on the world that wronged them. Then we have characters like Endeavor and All Might who are pretty good as well. Endeavor actually being one of the best written characters in the entire series. He gets a really amazing and well written redemption arc that gets you to understand his past and his actions without justifying what he did. Then we get to the 3 main characters of this series, and I must say, as an anime only, as of right now, Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are not my favorite characters. I know some crazy stuff happens in the manga that turns them around and makes them better characters, and that we are slowly starting to see that stuff hit the anime, with Bakugo specifically, which has actually made him one of my favorite characters of the 3. He went from this brat of a kid who thought he was better than everyone else because of his quirk, to this guy who knows the value of camaraderie and is atoning for all he did in the past by helping Deku out whenever he needs it. The development we have seen from the 3 of them, particularly Deku and Bakugo, has made them more enjoyable as characters. A lot of people complain about the animation quality of this series, saying that it isn't Bones' best work. They complain that a scene is messed up because a character is misshapen from the manga or something stupid. Now, I agree that it isn't Bones' best work, however, I don't think the animation is bad in the series, far from it. Even when the series is having a bad day, it still looks good. The manga has some of the best art in modern shonen, and that is just a fact. So, of course, the art and characters aren't going to look as good as they do in the manga. But to say it looks bad when it just doesn't is just disingenuous. Every fight scene in this anime is incredibly well animated. The quirks are bombastic and crazy, the camera angles really give us a sense of depth and intensity that we don't really get from the manga. Everything is fluid and runs well together. The lighting in the series could use some work in some places, like a lot of Season 6, I feel like should have had more contrast and darker tones to set the mood that the villains are on a rampage and totally increase the stakes of this season. But even with the bad lighting, the series still manages to squeak out some incredible moments that really hit hard and make you want to watch more and more. My Hero Academia is a series that reached massive heights in the 2010s only to have a massive fall off down the line. I myself personally never hated the series, however I do know that this series definitely had a massive decrease in quality in some of its later seasons. Season 6 though has been insane and has really allowed for the series to pick up its popularity again with people talking about this series every single week. My Hero Academia isn't my favorite shonen, that's for sure, however I do think it's pretty good and has definitely earned its popularity.